commission wishes to offer in good faith to purchase said property for the amount of $387,000. And whereas the commission has expressed its desire to purchase said real property as described in the attached commission resolution, subject to the approval of the Van Buren City Council. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Van Buren, Arkansas, that Section 1, the Van Buren City Council hereby authorizes the Van Buren Municipal Utilities Commission to purchase certain real property for the total sum of $387,000, utilizing City of Van Buren Municipal Utility Capital Improvement Funds. Section 2, the mayor is authorized and is directed to execute such documents and instruments as may be necessary to proceed with and finalize the purchase of said property, and the city clerk is hereby authorized and directed to attest same.
Steve is here from the water utilities, and also Mr. Jim Williamson.
Yes.
Representing the board. You have anything to add to?
I would just add that all of our permits are in place. The project has been approved by the EPA and ABQ, so we're just ready to proceed.
It's approximately 400 acres. It should last our city 50 plus years. It's something that we do need to acquire, and we're just definitely planning for the future. And it takes care of some problems now too.
I have just a question. That will be held in the name of the City of Van Buren, though, correct? Like we talked about on the phone.
Yes, I think the way, and Candace, I think any property is actually owned by the city. Most of our deeds say through the county has them as the City of Van Buren Water Department or Water Works or Municipal Utilities, but the City of Van Buren is first. And the way we understand it is the city has to execute any property ownership.
Right, and I thought that was what we discussed. I was just uncertain based on the resolution and make sure that we
Yes.
did make sure that occurred.
Mayor, bring me up to date on this. What are we doing?
Steve, can you help explain what we're?
Sure. We're purchasing property to land apply biosolids. We have 200 acres currently that is out on 59 South, and we're running out of room. So we need additional property.
Is this 59 South?
59 South between here and Barling.
Okay.
Yes, but this property is in a different location. This property is out near in the Yostown Bottoms.
Okay.
Yes.
I know where it is.
Yes. So the, like I said, the city's running out of room to take care of, to operate our wastewater treatment plant. So this is property to help us with our hurdles we're facing now, and as Mr. Williamson said, to ensure our future operations of our wastewater treatment plants.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Is the land going to be used to bury the biosolids?
No, it's land applied.
Okay.
Yeah, it's land applied, and then it's hay.
Okay.
Then you produce hay. Hay removes that's our land down here. We actually run cattle. We have it uses cattle and hay, but this property down here it's not really suitable for cattle because there's no fencing. It is just for hay production.
Another clarification on the legal, and I may have misunderstood Jim, but I thought it was 400 acres. The legal actually says.
Yeah, and that's originally we were looking at almost 400 acres. It got narrowed down to what the legal. I think it's actually 279 or something like that. Yes.
Okay. Candace, do we need to look into that legal then?
Well, it's on the resolution and the legal match, Jim.
Well, it says 125 acres more or less.
Well, that's in section 1. Section 2, yes. It's 200, there's 2 sections, Jim. Tract 1 is 125 more or less.
Mystery solved. I don't have the back page.
Okay, very, very good, sorry. Yeah, okay. Any?
Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we ever hear a motion?
So moved.
I second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Dodson,
Aye.
Councilmember Swain,
Aye.
Councilmember Wood,
Aye.
Councilmember Sparkman,
Aye.
Councilmember Nealon,
Aye.
Councilmember Petty,
Aye.
The ayes have it, therefore declare the resolution number
03-02-2019.
03-02-2019 is passed. Next item on the agenda is a resolution to enter into a contract with Hawkins Weir Engineers. I'll ask the clerk to please read the resolution.
Be it enacted by the City Council for the City of Van Buren, Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract for engineering services for the City of Van Buren, Arkansas, and for other purposes. Whereas the City of Van Buren, Arkansas desires to make various improvements within the city to include streets, drainage, bridges, and sidewalks. And whereas in order to commence the projects and to seek grant funding, the city is in need of professional engineering services for the development of plans and designs, cost estimates, and supervision for said projects. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Van Buren, Arkansas, that Section 1, the mayor is authorized to enter into a contract, Exhibit A, with Hawkins Weir Engineers Incorporated to provide engineering services for the development of preliminary engineering and designs and cost estimates for the above listed projects. Payment for such engineering services shall not exceed $25,000, including reimbursable expenses.
Larry Yancey's here representing Hawkins and Weir. I know this is something that we've done in the past, and we'll continue that.
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you for the opportunity to present this proposal. It's, as Mayor Hurst mentioned, it's for conceptual planning for projects that we've done for at least the last 3 years. Some of the projects that we have done under this program in the past, including the private-public partnership with Van Buren School District for Central Elementary, some hazard grant mitigation program funds for the Mike Myers Park Bridge, various other projects throughout the years. I've looked back, grabbed some of those projects, and there may be others. I know we did some evaluation of a pond with some drainage improvements last year as well for the city, but just the on-call services for conceptual planning, kind of as an on-call basis for the city. I'm glad to answer any questions.
Help me remember where, if you can, Mike Myers Bridge, where, tell me where that is.
Yes, Alderman Sparkman, that's the pedestrian bridge that was added to future potential traffic-rated bridge to make the move away from, potentially make the move away from access to the Lee Creek Park from the back of Simmons down into the park.
Oh, I know where
out
that
to the Lee Creek Park. So it was a project where there was grant funding that was available that we worked hand in hand with the city to acquire, and a 50-50 matching grant on that. So
Okay.
it's a good project there.
And just a clarification, it seems like we did this last year and I asked the same question. The way this is written is $25,000 including expenses, and the contract written $25,000 plus expenses, but it also, the contract also says not to exceed $25,000, so I just want to make sure we're clear.
It was written as a not to exceed 25,000, including all reimbursable expenses. It's a cap of 25. That's the way it was prepared. If we need to provide further clarification, we'd be glad to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Dodson. Councilmember Swain.
Aye.
Councilmember Wood.
Aye.
Councilmember Sparkman.
Aye.
Councilmember Nealon.
Aye.
Councilmember Petty.
Aye.
The ayes have it, therefore declare the resolution number
03-03-2019.
03-03-2019 is passed. Next item on the agenda is resolution awarding a construction bid for the Pointer Trail Sidewalk Project. Clerk, please read the resolution.
Be it enacted by the City Council for the City of Van Buren, Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled, a resolution accepting the bid of Harris United LLC for the Pointer Trail Sidewalk Improvement Project and for other purposes. Whereas the City of Van Buren has advertised for bids for the Pointer Trail Sidewalk Improvement Project, and whereas bids have been received and opened in accordance with Arkansas law, and Harris United LLC was the lowest bidder meeting the bid specifications, and whereas the City of Van Buren has determined that the bid of Harris United LLC is best bid. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Van Buren, Arkansas, that Section 1, the City of Van Buren, Arkansas accepts the bid of $286,694 as submitted by Harris United LLC as set forth in Exhibit A attached hereto, contingent on receiving concurrence from Arkansas Department of Transportation. Section 2, the mayor and city clerk are hereby authorized by the City Council of the City of Van Buren to pay all expenses relating to the Pointer Trail Sidewalk Improvement Project and to execute all documents necessary to effectuate the agreement.
This is, if you can remember back, some of you, this was from a grant that we received in the Transportation Alternative Program. It's the TAP program. And we also got a grant for the Arena Road sidewalks that we put together. So this is going to go on the north side of Pointer Trail. There are sidewalks on the south side. It seems like most people walk on the north side in the grass. And, so that would connect our schools, connecting to Highway 59. This is a good project. It's an exciting project. I'm glad that we're starting to move forward with that.
That also, again, so we're also glad to answer any questions or explain any parts of the project if the council has any.
Who owns Harris United LLC?
Harris United LLC is a relatively new company. I think it's originally part of Harris Construction Group at some form or fashion in the past, but a relatively new company. We did check their references as part of the bid procedure. We received similar projects as well as references. We checked all of those as well as their financial record and the performance on this project. So Harris United is a relatively new company, but we did do our due diligence and check their background and financial information on that. I'll explain.
I'm familiar with it. Just a curiosity question more than anything. What was the corrected bid or rebid process?
Sure,
just,
sure.
And just to explain myself.
Yeah, there were a couple of items on this bid that are probably worth noting. We received 8 bids. 2 of those bids had to be considered non-responsive. They didn't complete 2 affidavits that were required for the TAP program, an anti-collusion and debarment certification. Mayor Hirsch and I both confirmed with the project coordinator with Arkansas Department of Transportation that those bids could not be accepted as being responsive. So those are the 2 that are non-responsive. The third issue, the corrected bid, and at that, when we find an error in the bid process and bid tab, we go back and the words override the figures, and we kind of go through that process. There was a sure enough math error where you add the totals of each of those numbers, and then they come to a sure enough total, and that is the corrected bid. So
you made the correction.
That's right. That's right. We correct that after the bids are received to make sure there are no errors or any scrivener's errors or anything of that nature. And so we evaluate those, and that is the bid that was recommended. Here she knows.
Do you know if they're going to widen it any?
Well, we'd love to work on that project, but that's not part of this project.
I've just had some people ask me if they would widen it for
Oh,
walking and you could ride a bike at the same time.
Oh, it's a standard 4-foot sidewalk, at least 4 feet. There are some areas, especially at the west side, the west end of the project at Bronze, where there's very limited right of way.
Yeah.
It's about all we can do to get a 4-foot sidewalk in there. We actually have to get an easement from Bronze to squeeze in a 4-foot sidewalk because there's very limited space. And it's a pretty narrow corridor, but it is going to be a good project. There are 2 pieces of sidewalk that have been installed since we got started in the grant application. And those sidewalks look very good, and we're going to tie right into those, and it should look pretty seamless with a brand new sidewalk all the way up to the hospital.
Thanks, Larry.
You know how far offset the road is gonna be, I mean, in case they not just.
Yeah, we
why
have
not?
tried to, with the exceptions of Brahms and maybe at St. Michael's Church with the grade issues, we tried to offset from the back of curb. The south side is at the back of curb, a 2 to 3 foot offset, Alderman Neal, to give that walking room, that space off, kind of give you that clearer space, if you will. So we try to accommodate the green space with the exception of Brahms on the west end where there's limited right of way, and then St. Michael's Church where their drives fall back so steep that we didn't want to rebuild parking lots to.
Yeah, I was just thinking in the future they may have to widen Pointer Trail. If that's the case, that sidewalk goes up.
Yeah, there'd be probably a process of acquiring additional right of way, and then, the sidewalk would probably have to be moved from probably both sides, would have to be relocated.
You've noticed on the south side, on Petty, who runs a lot, being right up next to the street is not the safest thing. So any space that we can have between the two makes such a big difference. That's what we try to do.
It does. That's the city standard for new sidewalks, and Rena Road is one where we try to acquire that unless there's a hardship, some physical barrier where it just doesn't make sense to make major relocations to accommodate that. But we try to create that green space, in accordance with the city's specifications.
Do I hear a motion?
Kelly.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Dodson.
Aye.
Councilmember Swain.
Aye.
Councilmember Wood.
Aye.
Councilmember Sparkman.
Aye.
Councilmember Nealon.
Aye.
Councilmember Petty.
Aye.
Ayes have it, and therefore declare the resolution number
03-04-2019.
03-04-2019 is passed. Next item on the agenda is an ordinance approving the purchase of vehicles for the Van Buren Police Department. I'll ask the clerk to please read the ordinance in its entirety.
Bid enacted by the City Council for the City of Van Buren, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to waive competitive bidding and authorize a contract for and purchase of new vehicles for the police department for the appropriation of funds, declaring an emergency and for other purposes. Whereas the City of Van Buren is in need of certain police vehicles for the safety of life and protection of property by the City of Van Buren Police Department. And whereas after extensive research and inquiry, the City of Van Buren Police Chief has determined that the purchase of the vehicles from Buren Truck Center of Van Buren, Arkansas, and Superior Fleet and Commercial Sales of Siloam Springs, Arkansas, at the 2019 state purchase price would be the most practical, feasible, and cost-effective method for the department. And whereas the City Council has determined pursuant to ACA 14-58-303B2B that exceptional circumstances exist which render the competitive bidding process to not be practical or feasible, and whereas a state of emergency exists because the vehicle will provide improved life safety and protection of property and because the units are currently available. Now therefore be it ordained and enacted by the City Council of the City of Van Buren, Arkansas, that Section 1, the Police Department of the City of Van Buren, Arkansas is in immediate need to purchase 2 2019 Chevrolet Tahoes and 1 2019 Ram 1500 Classic vehicles. Section 2, the said 2 Chevrolet Tahoe vehicles are authorized to be purchased from Superior Fleet and Commercial Sales located in Springdale in Siloam Springs, Arkansas, for the total sum of $63,796 as detailed in the attached quote. Section 3, the said 1 Ram 1500 Classic vehicle is authorized to be purchased from Buren Truck Center located in Van Buren, Arkansas, for the total sum of $18,453 as detailed in the attached quote. Section 4, the City Council, in accordance with the terms of ACA 14-58-303B2B, hereby waives the requirement of competitive bidding and directs the mayor to purchase the above described for the price set forth in Section 2 and 3 above from Capital Improvement Funds, Police Department. Section 5, it is further found that due to the immediate need to acquire this vehicle before the quote expires, an emergency is declared to exist, and this ordinance being necessary for the preservation of the public health, safety, and welfare, it shall take effect from and after its passage and approval. Section 6, the mayor and city clerk are hereby authorized by the City Council for the City of Van Buren to execute all documents, contracts, and agreements necessary to effectuate this ordinance. Section 7, the various provisions and parts of this ordinance are hereby declared to be severable, and if any section or part of a section or any provision or part of a provision herein is declared to be unconstitutional, inappropriate, or invalid by any court of competent jurisdiction, such holding shall not invalidate or affect the remainder of this ordinance, and to that extent the provisions hereto are declared to be severable.
We have a motion to suspend the rules and go to a second reading.
You need a second?
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, therefore declare the motion carried, and ask the clerk to read the ordinance by title for the second time.
An ordinance to waive competitive bidding and authorize a contract for and purchase of new vehicles for the police department for the appropriation of funds, declaring an emergency, and for other purposes.
We have a motion to further suspend the rules and go to the third and final reading.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Therefore, declare the motion carried and ask the clerk to read the ordinance by title for the third and final reading.
An ordinance to waive competitive bidding and authorize a contract for and purchase of new vehicles for the police department for the appropriation of funds, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Chief Hammond, we included, I believe, a memo that he wrote explaining what this is about and about the fleet replacement program that we have ongoing. Chief, is there anything else you'd like to add? Any questions?
No, although I wish we would put me at the top of the agenda for next time for all the money's spent. These are, as I said in the memo, these are patrol vehicles, and one is an animal patrol vehicle. The two patrol vehicles, a couple of years ago, we decided that it's best for us as a department in the city to replace 2 a year, just to keep the fleet as reliable as we can and as modern as we can. And as for the animal patrol vehicle, it's just, as you can see, it's just reached its life expectancy. As you remember very well, we've been buying lots of vehicles lately. He says, 6 of them, those the SRO cars, that's like a one-time purchase. We bought a couple of the Chevy Traverse vehicles that we use for CID. Those will get replaced nearly as often as the patrol vehicles do. That's what we're buying, patrol vehicles.
Right, so barring the accident which causes you to use the extra car, how often is that extra car used? Because now we're gonna go up to 2 extra cars, so like if, you know what I mean, if it's rarely used, now we're gonna have another extra, just frequency of use of the extra car.
Well, with 2 of them that we use quite often. We have now, we have a grant that we use, pay guys overtime for, seatbelt enforcement grant, and it's a set grant is what it's called, but those guys use the extra car. And now since there's only one of those guys can work at a time, whereas now if we got 2 extra cars, they can use both of those cars if they're not used as patrol vehicles.
Any other questions? Clerk, please call.
Councilmember Dodson,
Aye.
Councilmember Swain,
Aye.
Councilmember Wood,
Aye.
Councilmember Sparkman, Councilmember Nealon,
Aye.
Councilmember Petty,
Aye.
Ayes have it, and therefore declare the ordinance number
05-2019.
05-2019 is passed.
Another motion.
Emergency.
Yeah, we gotta do that too, but we need another motion and a second previous to that. We need to read those. Second.
Motion for.
That's the emergency call.
The
No,
vote.
no,
This is, it's
no,
a separate,
first.
we have to do that next. Look, I must have skipped one. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance? That's what we need.
Okay.
That was what was that.
And I'll second it.
Okay, okay. I got Dodson and Nealon. Okay.
Sorry about that. So that is the ayes. You want to just go again?
If you want to.
Let's vote.
Okay.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Dodson,
Aye.
Councilmember Swain,
Aye.
Councilmember Wood,
Aye.
Councilmember Sparkman,
Aye.
Councilmember Nealon,
Aye.
Councilmember Petty,
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The ayes have it. Therefore, declare the ordinance, which is number 05-2019 is passed. Now we need an emergency clause, motion and a second. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Now will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Dodson,
Aye.
Councilmember Swain,
Aye.
Councilmember Wood,
Aye.
Councilmember Sparkman,
Aye.
Councilmember Nealon,
Aye.
Councilmember Petty,
Aye.
The ayes have it, therefore declare this ordinance 05-2019 is passed. Next on the agenda is the financial report. You have copies of the financial report. Can the clerk please read the amount?
$1,390,757.85.
Motion to pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Declare the motion carried. Under boards and commissions, we have a reappointment to the Civil Service Commission. Ms. Karen Ferris. It'll be another 6-year term that she'll be serving.
I'm the one that always says, I'd like to see the one we approve.
She's been on this. She's been
Yeah,
on
I've met her.
She was at the what's award ceremony. So do I have a motion to approve the reappointment?
Motion. Second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Declare the motion carried. Next, we have the department reports. You have copies of the reports from all the various departments. If there's any questions, try to answer those. If not, I'll declare those filed as submitted. Is there any other discussion, anything the city council would like to discuss, or anything from the public? If not, what do we do?
What's the latest info on the stretch of highway they're gonna work up there around Corner Trail up to the new school, I think, I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, we've actually been in contact with RDOT recently. Last year, the city council approved a partnership for that project. It was up to 25% of the total project, not to exceed $3 million. And because of that commitment, next month we'll be bringing a resolution. That project has actually been moved up the list of priorities throughout the state. And so next month we'll talk a little more about the details, but there's more money that's been allocated by the state. And it's on a new list that I can't say exactly what the starting date would be, but there's a potential starting date based on that plan. The problem with it is we still don't know what the plan is. The plan hasn't been completed. And so when the decision was made by the city council last year, I think it was last year, it read in a way that said we will commit up to $3 million, but we still want to see the plan before we commit that money. So we're still waiting on that plan, but I've been assured that it's being worked on, and it should be pretty soon that we'll know what they suggest for that area. So it's moving.
Mayor, would y'all like to say anything about the library? Me and John Gutenberger used to be the only ones that went. Now, I'm really impressed with what we have. I didn't think it'd ever happen, but I am really impressed. It's a real joy. Just go down there and park.
I think you just said it.
It's a joy to get books there too. I had to read to a class the other day, and the school didn't have the book, and I talked to Dan Lee, and she helped find me the book that I needed. So it's a joy to actually check out books.
I like to go down and use the computer, so it's nice to do them.
It's good.
I didn't hear that. I'm bad at that.
She uses the computers.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Appreciate it. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Let's adjourn.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
The motion carried.